some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, to heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
What's up, Dr. Winters? What's going on? Ace, Spirit Wonder, LaDonna Bell. To the chat. Karen, what's going on, Karen? Queen Karen.
LaDonna?
What's up, you guys? I'm feeling the love. That's pretty cool because my camera wasn't working before we started, and now it is. And you're here, and you're here. Hi, Dr. Winters.
That's right. We're feeling the love, but every day I thank God so much because I know that, and whenever, this is how I see life, family. How you doing, Karen? I believe in the sense that God, he has a script, and that life is just, I think it's somewhere in the Bible. I think in Revelation it says the book closes at the end or something like that. So I believe in the sense that we signed a contract with God to come down here to play these various roles. Like right now, I'm Clyde. I'm Clyde Winters. I know my wife before she died. She said that she saw us in Italy, and I wish I was that guy. He's still young and Byro. I'm old and with her. But anyway, so then so because of the fact that I'm in this incarnation, I'm gonna play my role. I'm gonna be the blackest brother you ever did see. I'm gonna take it all the way to the epitome of blackness. But what's so beautiful is this whole idea of love. Love. This is something that is very powerful. How did you come up with this topic?
What'd you say? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear with the minis in the background.
How did you come up with this topic, Eve?
Okay, so I was brought up in a Christian household, well, like a Baptist and then like a non-denominational Christian, all the while going to Catholic school. So that was fun. And then inside of that, I learned about love languages. And then from there, my first husband, we got married in the church and we had to go through marriage counseling, premarital counseling. Very interesting for us to have ended in divorce, but that's another story for a different day. But it kind of reiterated this love languages thing. And the pastor gave us a book, told us to read it, take this little quiz, and then see and make sure that we're talking to each other in a way that we understand. So I said all that back stuff to say that now, with all of my newfound knowledge, or at least experience gained from different personal situations in my life, with love or with hate or just with intense feelings and emotions. We started our reality checks, I think, with love is a state of being, right? And then it just seems like we would need to have a conversation about not necessarily what is love, but just if you're expressing it, or if you're talking about it, or if this is how you believe your energy to be cast out to others, then but you're not getting an appropriate response, or a response that you think would match up to the level of what you're giving out. It might be because there's a disconnect somewhere. And I find that most issues that people have are because they don't talk enough. We've talked about that too. So languages, talking, love, being, seems like it was just a natural progression just with what we've been talking about so far. So you being the master with the languages, salute to you and all of your work that you've been doing, right? You had to have heard about love languages, especially maybe not in in the anthropology sense, but maybe in the anthropology sense, where does it come from? Antiquated, maybe. I want to say one scholar at one time said that love was work. It was myrrh, and myrrh is merry, and then it was all this stuff that I can't quote, but I get love is work. I get that. That makes sense to me. I don't know if myrrh and merry is something that I need to pay attention to or not. I don't know, but from there, if I'm doing something and I feel like it's because I'm showing somebody I love them, like cooking. I love to cook. I love to feed people, especially good food. It's gotta be good food. Like don't waste your time if it's not good. But what if they don't know that that's me telling them that I love them, right? So then it's a waste of time because you're doing all of this hoping that they feel the love that you're pouring into them, and then they don't. They like to eat. They're glad they didn't have to make it, but they didn't feel the love. But I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to, let's dissect this, because languages of love, how people receive it, how people give it. Are there hate languages? Like, is that a thing too? If there's love language, it's got to be the opposite for there to be some balance. So I know I said a whole bunch, but with what I started with, you've heard about love languages before, right? At least the 5 that they talk about. Yes, no.
Well, first of all, language is defined as the principal method of human communication, consisting of words used in a structured and conventional way and conveyed by speech, writing, or gestures. Okay, given that definition in a sense, and we had to look at broadly how love is. I think earlier you even mentioned the fact that a lot of times your cooking in a sense would be recognized as a form of language, since you're trying to communicate to those people who are eating that wonderful food, and you make good pancakes. That when you're eating that wonderful food, that it can help you in a sense to be able to get this feeling, and so it's very important that we really look at this. But often we never really look at the language of love. Yeah, they tell us that Italian, the romance languages, French, Italian, especially Italiano, it's supposed to be so expressive of
Right.
how a man loves a woman, the woman. They never, but have you ever noticed they never include Spanish? But
Right. What is that about? Because it's Spanish, French, and Italian are all very closely related, right?
Yeah, they're romance languages. Go back to Latin. But I think maybe one of the things about Spanish, you can assume that one of the reasons that they may not really want to deal with Spanish is that remember, many of the Spanish words would be Arabico, or they would be, in a sense, they would go back to that Muslim experience and that whole idea of it. Often, if you really looked, even though they talk a lot about Arabic poetry, you wouldn't really believe that there was any type of love among Arabs and Muslims, especially. Look at Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, I was listening yesterday. Okay, they don't want to. Okay, they didn't want to see a woman's ankle. They want to see her ankles. So she has to be completely covered. And then yesterday, I found out that in Afghanistan, the women are not even allowed to speak out in public.
Like at all, like just mute.
Yeah, but see, it's very interesting because none of that is in the Quran. None of that is in the a lot of times Islamic law is based upon, in a sense, traditions of the prophet. Is based upon, in a sense, his interactions. Then there's a buildup of literature. That's why, in a sense, in various parts of the world, you see different types of what's called Islamic fiqh, or Islamic schools of jurisprudence. Okay. Africa used to be known as West Africa was known as the place for the Malinki style, Islam. It's not popular today because the Malinki style was very liberal. Think about the fact that the first African Muslim women went around butt naked and stuff. And then an Arab came and said, "Why are you going around looking at that big booty?" And the brother said, "What?"
Right.
Anyway, you know, it's very interesting now. Now you think about this, that in much of the history of Muslim Africa, the women went around, just about butt naked, or they may have had their genitals covered, but the Black African men didn't really think about that. I mean, even when I was going to school, I didn't find naked women so provocative when I was young. It was more the woman in the lingerie, or the woman in a sense in the bikini, because we had been in a sense instructed that primitive women went around butt naked anyway. That was the Indians. That's I can't.
Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
I can't think of any African tribal stuff. And so then, I remember. Would you believe? Back in the early '60s, and even when I was in high school, women would be on the buses and L trains, and they would flop out a breast and breastfeed their baby on the train.
Yes.
And nobody would think about that. But now, look at those breasts. They don't say breasts in the Black community. Look at those breasts. I mean, and so nobody ever really thought about that. But then over time, we started, in a sense, becoming like Europeans. We started seeing the woman. See, Europeans, as I've said many times, they have this thing about the body. They don't like the body. How you doing, Dorville? And so then, because they don't like the body, they really, in a sense, can't understand why the Black man, especially before the spread of Sunni Islam, why they could allow their women to go around showing their breasts. I got to keep saying the breasts, and showing their genitals and all that type of stuff, and nobody got excited about it. People wasn't running around raping and all that type of stuff, and they couldn't understand that. But they didn't understand in the sense that people in a sense were able to not, in a sense, allow the woman's appearance to really dictate how they responded to them. And I think that's one of the problems today is that historically Black women have allowed to be free. And this has been very dangerous. Since the Black woman had been allowed to be free, she could express herself in any way, you see.
Right. That makes sense. I watched a video of some Zulu women, and with their very fit. I don't know if all Zulu women are fit, but the ones that I saw were very fit, very Latin hut, with all of their pieces and parts not hanging low to the flow or wobbling or anything like that. And I immediately thought about what you said about breastfeeding and how it's been sexualized for us, but the rest of the world, maybe not the rest of the world, but a lot of the world that feeds their babies naturally, it's not, boobs aren't a thing. They got other things, other predilections. And then Arabs don't even want you showing an ankle. So I would be very much probably stoned for having on my tank top and talking in public. My head would be very far away from my body, I think, if
and then just think about it. Over there, any man can whip your ass.
Yeah, I do.
Saudi Arabia, they just stopped it, but Afghanistan is now the most dictatorial. But the point is, that's one of the reasons why they fell behind, Europeans, because they left half of their population not being allowed to participate. I will admit, I shouldn't say this. And family, I didn't say this. And if you say I said it, I'll call you a lie. They're liars. And but often it is very difficult. It is very difficult for men and women, I think, to work around each other, because sometimes it can be very fluid. You can get along, and then sometimes people can get funny. Like I know by the time I stopped teaching, you didn't tell your colleagues that they had a new hairstyle. You didn't touch them on the shoulder. They could touch you on the shoulder. They could touch you on your leg. You better not touch them on the shoulder. A woman in your office on the shoulder unless she did it, and you better not get over excited to see him and hug him. None of that, you know. But when I first started teaching, you could hug each other and stuff, and you didn't think about it. You could touch him on the shoulder. They could touch you on the shoulder. You could say, "Hey, that's a nice hairstyle," and nobody got upset. Now, he said I had a nice hairstyle. You know, what is he doing? What's wrong with that guy? You know. You make a very important point when you wrote, "Love is the key to life. The thing that makes it right. Why we can't be one, I'll never know. Love is the key this time, and there's no doubt in my mind. You really want to be free. Love is the key to freedom. Maybe, but love is to the uninitiated. To the uninitiated, Eve, love can be very terrifying. Love can be very frightening.
I wrote that because Dorval gave some libations, poured some libations for the newly transitioned ancestor Frankie Beverly, right? And that's a lyric, but it had me thinking that all of our conversations, we always talk about those conversations, right? The reality check is that when it's the dead of night and nobody else is around, but there is somebody around, and you can have these moments of openness, clarity, stupid, whatever it is, and just be free, right? So then love would be kind of the key. And even if it's terrifying, it's a skeleton key, then fine, right. Fuck it. Like, it's a scary key that you don't necessarily want to use, and that door in the attic that has some really cool stuff up there, but also spider webs. It's dark. Nobody's been up there, whatever. But if it's how we are introduced to letting our guard down so that we can have those conversations, then I don't know. I think that well, his passing is sad, but sometimes these artists leave us with some really deep thoughts that kind of move the conversation along. So I only had that thought to put that lyric in there because Dorval came in with his libation greeting. So thank you for that. And I think it's relevant because if we're communicating, if we're talking, women say this all the time. You don't understand what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I mean. They say this when they're little girls. They say this when they're teenagers. They say it when they're as old as Eve. They say it when they're older than me. It's across the board. We are the most misunderstood population, self-identified, because most of the time I think maybe people do understand.
Do you think it's gender based, or do you think you can also be misunderstood by people of your gender? Do you think
I think it's both. I think with women, we have this extra level of distrust because we want the attention, and then we don't want the solution as much as we want the attention. And I get into little scuffs with my female friends. I used to, because if they want to vent, they got to tell me they want to vent. But if they're telling me their problems and I'm all right, let's figure out some solutions. You can't do this a whole bunch of times with me because you didn't tell me you were just venting. So now I'm thinking that you're stupid because we've talked about solutions for these problems that you keep saying are recurring, but then you're not doing anything about it. So I said all that to say that women want the attention for not being understood, and then they want the attention for being the only person in the world with this problem, because then that means the attention is on them again. And I think that's a love language in and of itself. And I don't know if men do that as much as I've seen like unmasculine men kind of try to take attention or usurp attention in a feminine type of way. But maybe it's not gender based, and I'm just more inclined to think that it's us versus y'all. But what do you think?
Well, I think it's very complicated. I think many of us want attention, but I think we want attention in different ways.
Right, right.
Like like most men, a lot of times, men feel better when the attention is structured around a group, a team. Like if they're playing baseball, basketball,
Okay.
football, or if they're engaged in an activity in which they're able, in a sense, to show their prowess, but at the same time, in a sense, it's part of a group. Whereas I think in terms of women in our culture, it might be a little different. Because see, in many cultures around the world, in traditional cultures, for example, you had the association, you had the grade association, you had the age association. In other
Okay.
words, in a sense, for me to become part of the tribe, I had to belong to an age association. So when we reached a certain age, we were circumcised, and then we learned some of the secrets of being men and women. I mean, and women in their groups, then they learned the secrets of being a woman. Some of them had circumcision, but I don't think circumcision was good for women, especially when they cut off the clitoris. That's crazy. But the point
It
is this:
is.
is that I think that originally, in a sense, I think that it was just maybe some of the foreskin was cut, not the clitoris. You know, but I think that
What would that have been for?
because in a sense, Diop says that it was because of the fact that it was still part of being initiated into the
Oh,
into
into your woman.
your age group, into your
Okay,
woman
okay, okay,
woman group.
okay.
Because you
That's
remember
a little.
back in the day, in many societies, a woman, in a sense, on her when she got married, she had to have a cloth or something and bring it
Oh, to
out.
show that she was a virgin.
Well, it was showed that it was blood, so
Right, right,
that,
right.
that the hymen had been broken, and I guess, damn. Now that I think about it, I guess, damn, I really guess a woman is like a bottle of champagne, and with the bottle of champagne, you got to get the cork, you got to pull the cork out, and then all that the bubbles coming. Oh, stop, Clyde. Oh, damn. Is that what it is? Is
It's
that why
gotta
they
be.
felt they
Look,
had to?
you can't put the cork back in and get the same eruption.
That's right.
So maybe that's very interesting.
Yeah, because
I've never
back in
considered it like that.
but back in the day, the women, in a sense, this is what I read. I don't even know if this is true or not, but I read that often on the marriage, when the woman got married, she had to show a cloth to show that the hymen had been broken,
Right.
and since the hymen had been broken, you could get the champagne now. But what I found very interesting in terms of love languages, when you look at the love language of people who lived in traditional societies, it's totally different from us because I think, in a sense, that when you grew up in a traditional society, I think you had a better understanding of love, of love of community, love of your brother, love of your sister, and and it wasn't so narrow. See, we have a narrow concept of love, I think, growing up in the West, and our concept of love is basically sex. That's why a lot of times when you're young and you don't really understand love, a lot of times you feel that anybody who you feel you love, you should have sex with.
Right.
Even if it's a member of the same sex, you know, because we've been conditioned to feel that there has to be intercourse to really, in a sense, show true love. Whereas in other society, I think when you grow up in a society where there's an age group association, I think you can learn love of the other members of your age group. It gives you a lot of psychological support, especially if you're a woman. In our society, women are left, in a sense, women are left alone. They're left alone. Look how many. I think last week we talked about the fact that sometimes, because of when women have a baby, sometimes they can get that feeling to kill their child and all that type of stuff. and they need to have somebody talk. My wife said she used to get that feeling sometime back in the day, but she never acted on it. But I can see how if you're alone by yourself, you might would act on it.
When you don't have that person who will not only check the bumps in the night, but who will bring you down from your crazy. I think most women know that they have a crazy about them. And then it takes a very special man to deal with that crazy. Now, some women don't like to get to that level of understanding about themselves because it comes with responsibility of, you've got some crazy about you and you can't just be letting it out on everybody just because you've got some crazy about you. You know better. And then you know that they didn't deserve it. And I think maybe one time we talked about how if I am given the crazy in the wrong direction, I've been directed to take it out on them people who deserve it. We didn't do anything to you over here. And I feel you, and you might be feeling some kind of way today. So that's okay. Let's move this energy into a productive space. And I don't know that everybody's got the time to even do that. I feel like I get handled with kid gloves for the most part. And then it allows me the opportunity to have these self-reflective moments, but it's a safe space for me. I don't know if a lot of women get to that safe space spot outside of like being married for 20 years. And then you've got like Mathis's wife and Shaq's wife, and they've been married for all of these years. And then it turns out it wasn't love at all. It was something else, or maybe it was love at some point, but the love language turned into a hate language. One of the love languages is spending time with someone, or time. And then another language is spending money. So what if you initially were bought in to this love idea with the person because of what they were spending on you, and then the expense changed? It either turned from money to time or from time to money. And then I think we said this last week, you wanted her, you want her, she wants you, period. Right? Yeah, you might have to work to pay the bills or whatever, but you still have to pay attention to me when you get home. You can't be too tired. You can't be too anything, because then that means that you're not paying attention to me. And then now you don't love me because you're not paying attention to me. It doesn't matter you're paying the bills. Doesn't matter you're keeping me safe. Doesn't matter any of that other shit, because you're not paying attention to me anymore.
But I wonder if in traditional societies where you grow up with an age group. In other words, when you get a certain age and you're allowed to join in a sense the community. That's one of the reasons why I really love it's an Olmec statue where they have a baby in the arms of one of the Olmec men, and at first in a sense the Olmec child is just being held recklessly. And then in the next inscription, the Olmec child is talking into the ear of the person holding them. In other words, in a sense, when you become inducted into the community, your induction into the community allows you to have greater say so. I really don't agree with a lot of things. For example, Dorvell, he says that society makes women appear to be scatterbrained, but women are very analytical. That's true. And I think that any man who dares to think that a woman is scatterbrained, your ass is going to be in trouble. Because the thing is that because they're not. That's one of the reasons why my old man taught me you don't argue with a woman. See, I've learned over the years. I used to write a lot on neurophysiology, neuroscience, and learning. And what I found through my research is that and I brought it up here that boys in a sense, their brain is serial. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But as a woman, in a sense, because a woman has access to the left and right side of her brain at the same time, she's able in a sense to be able to not be limited in her understanding. I think they just said that they had some research to show that during the pandemic, many women aged 4 years older. Their brains aged 4 years. through the when they were doing the during the pandemic, because of the fact that in a sense, I guess they were, you know, isolated or whatever. But see, remember in a sense is that the brain, remember the brain is this structured. The brain is based upon memories. And see, everything that you do, everything you know is contained in a synapses in your brain. And when you're not using that synapses, it becomes smaller. But then as you use it, it expands, and so you have synapses all over the damn place, you know. But when we think about this whole idea of love and the language of love, we have to look at it from various perspectives. And I think that we're limited if we were to think that women are just in a sense, you know, scatterbrained. Creative Fire says yes. The false perception of love was hard to deal with. When I was a teen, kids were out of control. Babies having babies, lust, and not much concept of love. I don't know about that. Babies always having babies. I mean, damn, just like our parents, you know, the usual time that most Black women used to have babies was between 16 and 20.
16 and 20, right.
16
right.
and 20, you know.
Yep.
And that's just one of those things because, yes, you know, because see, I remember why I wanted to have sex, and it was silly, you know, is that I allowed society to dictate to me that I should have sex. And because I felt in the sense that I wasn't going to get to be 18. I wasn't going to get 18.
A timeline, because
right. Everybody getting shot and killed around me, you know. And then the people, this is back in the day, then the people in a sense when they were about to go to college, somehow they got shot over the summer. You know, I remember you know, say, damn, why did he get shot over summer? So I said, damn, I do not want to die unless I get have some sex. I want to have me some sex. but then when I was able to have the sex, I said, what was that all that about? What was I really pushing myself to have that? And see, but that's the whole point, is that a lot of times we allow society to dictate us, our language, dictate how we communicate with people. Because even in that process, of when you're having sex and you have baby mamas, you know, is that a lot of times, you know, people are talking a language of love to a girl just to get sex. But that's not right, because see, that's being a liar. That's being a deceptive. I didn't, you know, and I tried so hard not to lie. I think I didn't really start to lie. And I'm serious. I didn't really start to lie till I was out of work for 5 years and I had to try to get some food stamps. And when I went into that aid office, I lied. You know, my mother-in-law used to always say, "You're gonna lie one day, Clyde." I would never lie. I said a righteous person. I said I've read about, you know, because I was you know, I had became a Muslim and stuff, and I said that a Muslim can never lie, because if you ever lie, no one can ever trust whatever you say. She said, "You're full of shit, you're dumb, you're a nigger, and you're gonna have to lie to survive in this world." I said, "Ella," and I looked her in the eye. I said, "Ella, not me." And you know what? Ella was right. If you want to survive and you want to get them food stamps, and you got to go down to that aid office, you got to be ready to talk, baby.
That's you speaking a word. That's it's insane, because I was talking with Dr. Short earlier this week. We talked about James Earl Jones, and then he played in the movie Claudine that I didn't see when it came out. You know, it's one of those movies that I saw later in life. Because, you know, when it came out and how old I was when it came out, and it just kind of reiterated the stereotype of the government assistance thing.
But that's the way it was.
Right.
That's the way it was. When you had friends in the projects, like I said, my dad had a job, so you know you come to my house. You saw a telephone on the kitchen wall, and you saw a telephone in the living room. You know, it had a long cord so you could pull it around and stuff. But then when you went to your friends' houses in the projects, their telephones were in the closets.
Oh, right, right. Oh man, you
That's
talk
right.
about hiding some stuff. That's
And and if a man was around, a lady had to tell people, "Oh, that's my brother's clothes," and all that
right.
type of stuff. And that's just the way it was. So we were constantly lying, you know, and 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 it's terrible. It's terrible. I think that's one of the reasons why it was easy for us to lie to each other, even in our relationships. It was easy for us to lie to each other because that European impacted upon us a culture of lies. A cult, we lied in a sense to avoid getting whipped. We lied in a sense to get things, and that's one of the reasons why you had to have a smooth tongue back in the day. Because when you
right.
talk to ladies, in a sense, you had to be able, in a sense, to impact them on their mind. You had to put them into a fantasy world because you didn't have no damn money. So words
This is
matter.
the same today, though. I mean, the dollar is not dollar, and the math is not mathing because you can't tell me the same loaf of bread is worth more now, and they're not using the same good ingredients they used to use back in the day because they're splicing and splicing it all over the place. But I wonder. You said that the average, and I was in agreement with you, 16 to 20 for when Black women are having
Back
babies.
in the day,
But is that a rollover from chattel slavery, or
I
is it
think
just a
I think it was a rollover from chattel slavery because back in the day because of our diets, the average woman, in a sense, the average Black person back in the day, because we had those really messed up diets, pig feet, all that type of meso. She didn't really receive her menstrual period till around 16, around 15 and a half, and then by 16, in a sense, she might would have a baby, and I imagine, in a sense, that this is the way it was. And so, but what happened is that there's always been this focus. There's always been this focus. No matter what you say, there's always been this focus where you're supposed to have sex at an early age if you're a guy. If you're not having sex, then maybe you're gay. I mean, your
wrong
father,
with you? Right,
yeah,
right, right.
your your father's always looking. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? And the only way you get your father to leave you alone is you tell him, oh, I got a girlfriend. Oh, okay, good. You got a girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. Because see, even though today it's a lot of emphasis on LGBTQ or whatever that those letters mean, is that back in the day it wasn't that type of emphasis. I remember my sons. I remember my sons when they got in their 20s, and they said, "Damn, Anthony, cousin Anthony, back in the day," he said, we used to always want to play. I wanted to be Spider-Man. And I was in the Fantastic Four, but Anthony always wanted to be Wonder Woman. And
Anthony
and
has some sugar in his tank, didn't he? A
and
little bit.
that's what he did. He went and got lost. I remember his sister.
Oh no.
Yeah, his sister was trying to find him back in the day. Because see, in Chicago back in the day, when you went that way, you moved from the south side or the west side to the north side. They call it Boys Town over there on the north side. You may hear they may
No, that makes sense. Isn't that was in the music too, right?
Yeah, and so even today you might hear them talking about Boys Town. That's a north side community, and so that's the way it was. But it was just interesting that when we were talking, they got in their 20s, that they mentioned that about Anthony, that he always wanted to be Wonder Woman. And
That's interesting though, because what if the emphasis is because of, and this isn't really what we're talking about, but it kind of is, expressions of love, right?
Yeah.
There is no love between a Black man and a white woman, or a white woman and a Black man, because there is no love there. There is
they can have a financial relationship. They can have a financial relationship.
Yes. And okay, maybe there's some anecdotal stories out there. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But just in general, Dr. Winters and I, we both agree that there's no love there. And because there's no love there, then you can't do certain things and expect the outcome to be equitable. So I was wondering, because I've seen this, and I've seen this across the board with Black men and their sons. Is it possible that they're having an epigenetic memory or trauma-related response to being somebody's buck broken, bed warmer? So in order to snap out of that, give them some pussy, or excuse my language, like make sure that they know where they're supposed to go versus whatever benefit that they might have had back in the day for being an easy whipping boy or bed warmer, or because people say that about our enslavement, is that some people, they really played the role of the right way, or they were Uncle Ruckus, or Jesse Lee Peterson, right? They were very, very good at their job, whatever it was. And
but then when you really read the literature, you find out that it wasn't so much raping on the plantation, because often if you rape that sister, she would burn your house down.
Right.
Or you might get
say that you do.
Yeah, or you might get or the slave master might find glass in his drink.
Right.
And so then therefore, in a sense, you had to be very, very, very careful. Now what they would do is, if they could get you at a young age, like the brothels, like down in Louisiana, a lot of times they would get those kids and they would start them off as little people in those brothels, and they would grow up to be in that position. But see, in outside of the Louisiana and the French, most of the time that European, in a sense, the English slaver, he might want to maybe creep to the slave huts, but his main mind was on making that money.
There you go.
His mind was on making money, and because he was about making money, he did not want to, in a sense, spend a lot of times doing that. In the movies, they like to fantasize about, that's how the slave master would get his manhood. He'd go to the slave place, and then the sister down there waiting. I mean, hey, it was probably some Black women who would have maybe enjoyed being prostitutes, because they would have got those little extra benefits, and the love language. See, the love language for the average Black slave, male slave, would have been what? Hey, you better work hard, I'm gonna whip your ass. On every plantation back in the day, the average plantation, they usually had at least they used to have a brother's head on a pike, or if they didn't have a head on a pike, they would, in a sense, if they didn't have the head on a pike, they would, in a sense, would just have the person, in a sense, out there, and the person would be out there, and then they would have a brother, in a sense. The brother, what he would do is that he would, in a sense, his head would be there, and because his head would be in a certain position, then therefore, in a sense, it was very dangerous, and this is something that I think is very important to really understand. Is that they used to have a head, and the head would rot. They would usually have a head up there, rotting and stuff.
Like, just as a warning, this is what you don't do. Look at this smart nigga right here. They see how smart he is with his head on a spike and rotting and nasty. I was wondering if I could show something.
I'm trying to get it up there.
There you go.
There it is. Okay.
All right. So we're talking about love languages. This election, we are being told, we're Black Americans are always being courted, and courting is dating. Intercourse is relationships, or there was a word. My AI was giving me a vocabulary quiz earlier, and it said which word is a synonym for intercourse, and the synonym was dealings. And if you can intercourse, right, and it's not necessarily sex, or you can impregnate someone with your thoughts, or you can get pregnant with thoughts, or you can have all of these different things, then it makes sense why it's all very sexual. And then you think about what is being sold to the American people, and it's a bunch of sex. And then you got this woman.
Hey guys, you want to shake? Not that kind of shake. Healthy shake.
Oh.
I know that's not like sex, right? But Amber Rose is one of these characters, and she keeps popping up as a person who loves the attention, from her slut walk to a tattoo on her forehead to right now she's teaming up with other presidential, non-presidential. I don't. RFK's not. He's not in it anymore, right? He dropped out. And
he kind of dropped out, but she was at the Democratic. She was at the Democratic and the Republican convention. She was speaking, and you have to look at it from this perspective: is that some people identify her as a bad wench, but the point is this: is that she's been ran through so much, they say, that now she has to find another way of living, another way of expressing herself. But at the same time, it's still about attention, when she has writing on her forehead and the tattoos and all that. I mean, just like I always felt that people who wear the nose rings and the lip rings, I always felt that they were kind of easy, and that it wasn't people like that when I was going to college. So I don't know why I developed that idea, because it's wrong. It's wrong. No.
Why is it wrong? No. Let's dive there, because some stereotypes are necessary. If you see somebody who looks like they're going to harm you, you're stupid to not pay attention to that.
Well, but
also it could be really mean to stereotype somebody like that too. So
but see, the language. Remember, language is images.
Okay.
Language is images. Language is anything that conveys in a sense an interpretation through your brain. And so then when I see a person with a nose ring or ring, I always feel that a person who has a nose ring, I feel that woman is like a cow. And a cow is always waiting to be fucked by the bull. So then, therefore, in a sense, I always, I shouldn't say that.
You should absolutely say it's a reality check.
It's girls in my family and women in my family
that have the bull ring,
that have a ring in the nose. Oh. And I even have. Then one of my nieces used to have a hole in her tongue with the thing. So but I don't want to believe that. But I just feel that any woman who wears a nose ring, that she's like a cow. And what do cows do? Cows just get fucked. But cows don't have a mind. And so those women, to me, when I see them, I'm very prejudiced. It's a good thing. My wife, she's always say, Clyde, you're too judgmental. Clyde, you're always, in a sense, building up too much. And so she would be very angry at me today, but I have nobody to stop me.
That's what we talked about earlier at the beginning, those late night conversations, and that person that brings you back to reality.
Yeah, I have nobody to bring me back to reality. I have nobody to bring me back to reality, And since I have nobody to bring me back to reality, then a lot of things I had to work on my own. I don't know, because I'd always felt that maybe my wife would deal a long time, so I had good insurance. When I was teaching, I had an insurance policy worth about $300,000. Because I felt that when I died, she could get the $300,000, And then I knew my daughter would probably try to spend up 150,000, but maybe my wife would at least have that 150,000, and then maybe whatever.
Yeah.
But then when I retired from teaching,
they took it.
They took the policy.
Yeah,
they took the policy. I'm paying for years a $300,000 policy, and now you can just take it. Where's the white boy when he gets a $300,000 policy? When he gets old, he can get money off of it.
I was about to say you can borrow against your insurance.
That's for the white folks. Don't get it twisted. Maybe you know a brother with it. But that's just insurance policies that the white folks get. I'll never forget when I when I bought my first piece of insurance, and they were she talked about this and talked about that, and okay, get this one policy, okay, and blah blah blah. So I did it. Then down the road, in a sense, I found out that they're giving the white boys that not even that educated, giving them insurance policies that they can borrow off. That later and they're getting $100,000 policies and paying maybe $50-$60 a month, and I'm paying $300 a month. What the? And
they can file bankruptcy and never have to pay things back. Shout out to Trump as the example. Yeah. But I think that's a love language, to be forward thinking, about the future, and not just because, I gotta have sex because I might not have a future, but you have a daughter and you have a wife, and you said, okay, 300,000, half of it's gone because the girl is gonna.
She's gonna spend it. She's gonna help her. She's gonna help her spend it up.
And then you didn't say nothing about your sons, which means y'all supposed to be good already. And then my wife.
No, they could do
other baby girl.
They're bothering me now. I said, Pops, when you gonna write the will? I said, I'm gonna be like the average nigga. Y'all gonna say, why didn't he make a will for us to? I said, hell, damn, I ain't got nothing.
No,
I ain't got nothing. What the hell I got?
Stuff.
What the hell I got? What the hell I got?
You probably have $1 million worth of text in your home just because of them keeping information away from us, and then books costing $1,000, $800. Texts that haven't seen the light of day before, probably. I
got a lot of books, but when I die, they're gonna go down and they're gonna get those books and throw that shit in the garbage.
Y'all better not. Whichever ones of y'all listen to this show, don't know if you about to hit me up, hit Yoshi up. We want them. We want the books. Don't throw them away.
And my papers and all that type of stuff. Then you would have to get.
We want it. Don't throw it away.
Yeah, the only person that listens to this show is my son and his wife. And they look at the show. And but I mean they're intelligent people. So what can I say? Create so far said I do my best to project B1 love through my blog posts, sharing great love songs recorded by emerging physicians and legends. That's a good way to do it. Is that you want to create that language?
Have you seen Create's artwork?
No.
See if I can pull it up when we go to commercial, but it's good stuff.
I didn't know that Create so far was an artist.
Yes. Creates is also an artist. You've got a lot of creative-minded, forward-thinking people in your audience, and I think that's a love language.
I know. Tone Spy, I know he makes music.
Yes.
With Yoshi Mod and stuff.
Yes.
And there's a lot of talented people out there. I've been trying to get Yoshi Mod to publish his book.
Guess what?
He did. Yeah, it's called The Bloom. I ordered it the other day. I ordered this book the other day, and family, once I get it, I'll show it to you. But it's a wonderful book. But I love the videos that he makes. I'm going to show one of his videos. Let me try to show.
While you do that, I'll see if I can get Create's work up there.
Okay, that'll be cool. Boo-doo-doo. Okay, this is family. This is one of Yoshimon's videos. So I want to play it because they're just so fantastic. I just love the videos that Yoshimon makes.
Me too. Shout out to Yoshi.
It's funny how one of the girls in here looks like one of my former high school girlfriends.
Oh no!
That's right. Which, but when I saw how she looks today on the, I saw her on Facebook and I said, "Damn, I'm glad I didn't marry her."
The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Remorse once grew from woman to man. In Europe's heart, they wanted our land. Dr. Clyde reveals the hidden past, where blackness thrived, a vivid past. No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. From roots to moors, the truth is told. Stories of strength, being black is bold. Cultures blended, histories merged. A bond of funk, our souls converge. European tales, they twisted well to hide the truth, but their plans soon fail. See, Dr. Clyde's light shines beyond bright. We the black aboriginals are righteous in this fight. Are righteous in this fight. European tales, they twisted well. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Face FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots.
That's a beautiful video by Yoshimon. But what I like, one of his other videos I like is he does a video when he talks about the foundational Black Britons. Let's look at that one.
We are the Blacks and Britons, yeah. He told us we were strangers in a land we called our own. Caucasians who are Hebrew knew we built this stone by stone. From the ancient streets of London to the towns they claim to know, our history runs deeper like the river steady flow. We built this land, yeah. From the ground up to the sky, our roots run deep, yeah. And our spirits never die. These losers are full of lies, try to steal our pride, but we know the truth. We're the builders of this tide. They say we're new arrivals, just got here yesterday. But our ancestors laid these bricks. Who's the immigrant, you say? From Africa to Albion, we crossed the endless seas. Carried our culture and its secret, we taught our seas. Yeah, from the ground up to the sky, our roots run deep. Yeah, and our spirits never die. These losers are full of lies, try to steal our pride, but we know the truth. We're the builders of this life. Your pasty ways lead you to make laws to push us out. We are the foundational Black Britons who built this damn house. In every brick, in every street, our legacy will stand. We are the people who built this goddamn land. This land to erase. From the ground up to the sky, from the ground up to the sky. but we know the truth. We're the builders of this life. We are the foundational Black Britons. We are the foundational Black Britons. We are the foundational Black Britons. But we know the truth. We're the builders of this tide. Now you need to leave. Ooh, 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 ooh. You need to leave. Now you need to leave.
You know, that's a very beautiful, work of art by Yoshima. But I gotta let you guys know that that Eve is a great artist. Also, she's a very great artist.
Aw.
And
That's not me though. That's Crates. This is Crates.
oh, that's one of Create so far as creation.
Yes.
Go with your bad self. Go.
Look at that, right? That's amazing.
It is. That's. Listen. I'm going to tell you something, Eve. I'll admit I have a very cheap audience, and the family doesn't want to give doesn't want to provide any don't want to share any cash apps with all these great artists. But I do have a very creative group of people in the chat, a very creative group of people that listen to our presentations every week. I think you brought a lot of them, didn't you? Because you're an artist too.
I do like to make and create. No, your audience is an inspiration of sorts. I find that I move best when I'm around people who move, and just finding like-minded individuals is very comforting and makes it very easy to do the things that I like to do already. So I feel like my tribe are people who want to go out and do, people who say that they want more and then go do those things. So all these artists, if they're coming from me, they're coming from you because they're here with us. Creates, what medium is this? Is Miss Odetta that you did? Do you know? Or I mean, obviously you know. Will you tell us? Is it digital? Did you do it with your is it hand drawn? I know that we've talked in the back channels about your style just a little bit, but I with Yoshi being such a digital genius. Look, Dr. Winters, crazy. When I was in college, my original degree would have been in graphic design, but my teacher, or one of the main art teachers at the school that I went to, basically was telling us that you're not going to make it. Most of y'all are not going to make it. So you might as well have a secondary plan because, well, most artists are poor. And then if you're not going to go try to teach, because let's just be honest, if you go teach, you're going to be poor too. But at least you'll have a little following, little minions who will help you get by. A lot of my art teachers had like little support groups of students who knew that teachers get paid pennies and they like the exposure to and the knowledge from. So they kind of had like Patreons before Patreon, right? Like you've got your class, they pay for class, they pay for stuff, they support you. I had a lot of I had a lot of peers who did that for their favorite teachers. And one of those teachers told most of us that we weren't going to make it. And then they said, you got to spend $10,000 this year on supplies. Maybe we used half of those supplies.
But but that's a shame, because see, there's always somebody that can make it. Just like myself. I remember years ago when I had a lot of jealous people, because a lot of people used to be jealous of me because back in the day, as soon as I got out of college, I was publishing articles, and then some of the older people like Anderson and Carruthers at at the Comedic Institute, they were jealous of me because they're in their 40s, pushing 50, and here's somebody 24.
Right.
And I'm publishing articles on Black studies, and they're talking about Black studies, but I'm doing the Black studies.
Doing the work.
Right. And
you was married, right?
Right. And had what, 3 or 4 children at the time, So I had to
knocking them out. You said I'm not dying before I get some, and now I got some of my
That's because fellas, don't marry a girl who's the only girl, and her mom only has one girl. Don't marry that girl because she's gonna want to have babies. And don't marry him. Don't marry him. Don't fall in love. But I'm happy I fell in love. I'm happy I fell in love at an early age because my baby doll made me very happy, very, very happy. And it's amazing that she's been she died 4 years ago, but I still can feel the happiness. I still can feel the warmth, and I do wish she was with me, but it's just one of those things that's what life is all about. But the thing is that as you go forward, because she left me a great gift, and the gift is love, because she taught me how to love. Growing up as a Black man, your mother, your grandmother, boy, don't you cry. Boy, you got to be tough. Boy, you can't show any emotion. Boy, you're a Black man. You can't show any emotion. And this is how we were raised. We were raised like this because the fact, in the sense, is that they knew we were going to go out in that world. And they knew that as a Black man, we weren't going to be able to just glide through this thing. You had to be kind of cold. You had to be kind of, in a sense, aloof. But then luckily I met my wife at an early age. I fell in love, and she loved me back. And, and the thing is that she allowed me to know love. And by me knowing love, now I can share love. I can say I love Eve, and I do love Eve. It's not a romantic love and stuff like that, but I love her. I love Eve. And I can love other people, or I can hate you too and want to fuck you up. But I'm sorry, I'm a Sagittarius. We want to get revenge. We can't.
You got fire up in you, man. That means your birthday's coming up.
Not until December.
Oh, you're a December Sag. Okay.
Yeah, because but the thing is that, but I was lucky that God gave me a good woman, and he gave me an even better friend. And the thing is that that's the good thing. And see, that's why a lot of times, the language of love is best spoken sometime in the middle of the night. You want to go to sleep, and your partner says, I want to talk. Yeah. I want to wake up. I'll get something. You just wake up. Or I know my wife, before, every in the evening after the kids would go to sleep, we would either have maybe some maybe a pop or something, or maybe drink some tea, and then talk. And see, that's the whole point, is that people don't understand is that you don't fall out of love. You don't fall out of love. You just stop communicating. You stop talking. And see, people, a lot of times people think that sex can hold a relationship, but there's a lot of people that have good sex, but they can't stand each other and stuff because they're not communicating.
That's for sure. I thinking back to the beginning of our conversation with the love languages, and then what we were supposed to be learning in our premarital counseling, and then how to have these conversations, because it really wasn't even about having conversations as much as it was to make sure that you're doing the most to receive the love that's being given, because you're not going to get it the way you want it. Like it was almost beat into anybody participating in this level of understanding, is that everybody speaks differently. So while you're listening to the words coming out of my mouth, it still sounds like wah, 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 wah. And then we have that reference, right? But then the generation under us doesn't have that reference. Then now we've got a disconnect, because, we get it. You can be looking someone dead in your face and not hearing what they're saying. So if they're not saying I love you, or I think, didn't we talk about survival? Love or survival at one point. So if you're not getting hugs and kisses, and some families, you get a hug every time you leave a room or come into the room, and then some families, none of that.
Yeah.
And then, but both families could be full of love because of how these people are expressing the love. And then, are you big enough, mature enough, responsible enough, aware enough? Can you do all of these extra things to receive it? Or are you going to have a pity party that they're not telling you in the way that you like to receive it? But then, are you not loving them if you're trying to make them talk to you the way you need? It's a lot of different things. And
and not only that, but see, the language of love for a man and the language of love for a woman is different. The language of love, I think, for a man in relationship to his woman is that he wants to give her things. He wants to, in a sense, he wants to show her off. Mm-hmm. And because he wants to show her off, that means he wants to buy her pretty things, jewelry, dresses, things like that. And even though you hate that people are desiring your woman, still have
like it though.
Pride. Yeah, you like it because you still have pride. You still have pride in the fact is that, yeah, that's my girl. Sorry, it's not yours, but hey, you just was a buster, And then, but then a woman's love. What is a woman's love language? Can you tell? I don't know.
I think it's attention. I see my sister Taisha in the chat. Karen, I know you were in there. Any other women in the chat? Is it attention? Is our baseline love language attention? Hey, LaDonna, you too. Because I think that is our base. Even with, I've been texting my man since we've been live, because I wanted to just make sure that I wasn't capped. I feel love when he tells me my food is good, and I wait for it, and I might sit there and really wait for it, and it doesn't take a long time anymore because he knows that I want to know. Even if you didn't like it, I need to know you didn't like it so I don't do it like that again. But I don't.
But he's not going to tell you.
No, I have heard it before though, and it's been on some. You must have not liked me tonight because I ate it, but and I'm like,
when the plate when he doesn't lick the plate, he didn't like it.
Yeah, well, no, and then that's it really. When he's not asking for seconds, is there more? Can I do that again? Can we run that back? And then the children are the same way. If they're not asking for seconds, they didn't like it, but everybody's always asking for seconds, and I like that because it means that I did a good job. And that's attention to me. I'm getting the attention from the work that I did, and you're showing me attention because you know that you didn't go in there and cook it. And they'll all tell me, I think one of them's coming down the stairs right now, so I'm going to put them on the spot if they are. But they've said, what's your job? Mom, what's your job? They see me in school with them every day. Every day we have school, they see me in school. They see me teaching. One of them is in my class, and they still ask me, what's my job? So I say, I'm the resident doctor, chef, teacher. Well, in my house, I like to build things, but that's just over here. And they say, what? You're a doctor? What? Well, we know you're a chef. You're the best chef. And now they're trying to lay it on thick to get something extra.
My wife was always, she was an artist. So she was always tinkering stuff. She would just make collages on boxes. We even got some paintings around the house that she painted. My wife was a very artistic woman. And she loved art, and she loved being creative. And when they would always be playing puzzles, having songs, singing. Around Christmas they'd be making various cookies. That was the highlight. They all get to make cookies and cut out cookies and stuff like that. So they had a good thing. I remember my son was in the Navy, my oldest son, and so he came home for Christmas. And he had kind of a frown on his face.
Oh.
And I said, what's wrong with you? He said, where's my stocking? Where's my I said, what? I said, I didn't think you really cared about it. So I went and got his Christmas stocking and hung it up. You
But
know,
that's love too, to be remembered. I had the same type of feeling when I went home the first time after college, and my brother's stocking was up there, and he's only a year younger than me. So if you were saying that we were too old for this shit, then his stocking shouldn't be up there either. And it wasn't. His stocking was up there, and all the other kids' stockings was up there. Me and my big old college self, supposed to be bigger than this. But they didn't change my room. They didn't change my room until after I got married. And then it was like, well,
you were gone.
You're gone now. Let's go be with your husband. You don't need this room anymore.
Go be with your husband. He's your husband now. But like I said, is that there's so many different languages of love, and the expressions, and I like the idea that you said one of your best languages is just the idea when they like your food, when you make something that they want to get seconds or they're very excited about it. So I mean, that's what we need to do. We have to have something. We have to have something that speaks to us, and that's what language is. Language is speaking to us. We always think of languages as just being words, but words are images. And in fact, many of the images were the basis of language. So if many of the images are the basis of language, then it's the images that we project, as the images in the sense that we perceive, that also allow us to be able to understand the various love languages. Because there's not just one. There's not just one. And I like that idea when you said that the thing is this is that one of the major languages of love for a woman is attention. Like creation.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, no, we were talking about the Mathises, and you were telling me that while he's out living his best life, she's kind of at home doing the home thing, and maybe that was okay at the beginning when she's not really thinking about doing because she's receiving. But then you can only do that for so long. I mean, that type of attention only goes so far,
right?
And then you actually want attention. Like, no, you talk to me. Like, do you like what I have to say? Do you not want to be around me? We start having really crazy thoughts about things that y'all have never said out your mouth ever. But you take attention away from me, I'm gonna start thinking the worst, because, well, what am I here for if you don't want to pay attention to me? Clearly, it's not to build things. It's not to protect you. It's not to, like, what's my purpose? That whole idea that a woman's love language is the attention that she gets, maybe from her man or whatever. But I wonder, is that also a language of love among people who have age groups or live in age societies? I wonder, is that very important to a woman who has an age group and that she's been initiated into a society and all the women in her age group are there, and then they grow up, they learn about womanhood, and then they're always there to help and protect each other. I wonder, do they really see their husbands as important figures? Yeah, they probably still want attention, but I wonder sometimes if among primitive people, if in a sense the male is so significant in his wife's life, because the fact is that in other societies where they have in a sense age societies or boy girl society associations, it looks as though a person wouldn't be so lonely because they would always have friends based upon the people that they know from their age group who was initiated the same time they were. I guess like sororities or fraternities. But this one is much more deeper because it's one that's within the tribe, within the group, within the family. Like I've heard where sometimes even some women
would want their husband to marry their friend or something like that. So that's unheard of here in America. The average American woman, they want their man to themselves, and that's that. And but I wonder if that could be something new. Create So Far says there wasn't much love between my mom and dad, so from a young age I searched for it deeply in music. Now here I am with a music blog, followed by my musical heroes. Create So Far, you're gonna have to send me some of your stuff so I can highlight it on the show, man.
Oh, for sure. Look, I'm gonna share his link in the chat for right now, and then Creates, make sure you send it to him for sure.
Yeah, so we can people need to see this stuff,
I think I agree with you though about the age groups and the indoctrination of you into your peer and like-minded, counterparts, right? When women go to the old folks' home, most of the time it's because y'all are going to be mad, especially since you can't see my face. So I'm not being mean. Or if I am being mean, then just go back to the video where my face is stuck on a stupid face, and then you can just laugh at me, right? But a lot of old people are in a throwaway category. And I don't mean like we should throw them away as much as they've been discarded. And then, for what it's worth, old folks' homes are filled with women, and not just single women, but women whose husbands have passed, women whose children don't want to be bothered with the attention-seeking things that she's doing to get them to pay attention to her. So then it's like, oh yeah, my mama's in an old folks' home or whatever. We go see her whenever we go, whatever. But then those women, they kind of link up and they reminisce about the good old days when they was baddies and they was getting all these things and men courting them left, right, and all that stuff.
But one of my daughter-in-law, she's a nurse, a county nurse, and a lot of those people, those nurses, those be having venereal diseases.
Yes.
I guess. Hey, maybe they're having too much. Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I don't know what's going on in a nursing home, but it looks as though there's a lot of there's some sex going on, and unprotected sex.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell you what's going on in the nursing homes, because I wanted to do this as like a Scared Straight when I was during my tenure with the New Black Media on certain channels that might talk about business. I wanted to do a Scared Straight type of thing, like where you would take the boys to prison and try to scare. I wanted to take girls to the old folks' home to show them this is your future if you can't get your shit together. But then when I started looking at news and articles, it's a lot of foreigners who get these jobs of caretaking because it's the population that's been considered a throwaway population, and they're getting raped. And these people don't even have memories. They got dementia and forgetfulness and old people diseases, and they can't even remember that Hector or Gloria or whatever has been playing with them when they're not supposed to be doing, or because these people are in the throwaway category, they're having sex and relations with each other, and because they can't get pregnant, there's no protection being used, and that's the other reason for all the spread of disease.
Venereal diseases.
It's crazy, because you would think that people have
and there's a few young
type of shit, right?
And then it's a few people in the nursing home too that have been capped. A lot of young men back in the 80s and 90s, that were drugged, that didn't handle the drugs right away. A lot of times they capped them. That meant they would shoot them in their knees, and a lot of them are in nursing homes too. Because they got capped.
Well, that makes sense. And then, well, I don't know. I've been to a few nursing homes. Back in my prime, we had a whole volunteer organization where we were doing all sorts of different volunteer work for the community, and the old folks' homes were littered with women. Not that there weren't men in there, but the women, they were there. Everybody wanted to talk. right? So I got that first. If you're in this place, you don't have anybody to talk to that gives a damn because y'all all went through it at the same time.
Did they haven't? Did they? You know, when I was growing up, I learned a lot from wineheads. Did
Mhm.
they have any wisdom? Did some of the women that you talked to?
Absolutely.
Did they? Okay.
I think every person I've ever talked to in an old folks home had something that I learned from them, just being around them or just paying attention to them. And what I mean by that is one thing that I didn't think that I would get, I get it now, are pictures. Well, a lot of old people like to look at pictures, and it's not necessarily because those people aren't around anymore or they're coming by anymore, but it helps you hold the memory. And then I think about people that have passed. You know, I love them. My dad, I love my dad. He's been gone for a long time. And until I see his picture, sometimes I can't see him. And it's not for any love lost as much as it's just one of those synapses that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, there's no development on it, so it kind of stays in its spot. And then
dormant state.
right, okay, so right, dormant. And then pictures kind of help bring it back into the foreground. So that paying attention to, you know, it could be something as small as a picture, you know, that people wanting to send pictures, show themselves off. You know, we've got a society of selfie induced people. You know, if people were to look up how many love languages, you'll see that that philia, is that how you say it? PHILIA, philia type of love is going to be that not erotic, but definitely a deep connection with. And then I find that people kind of can take that type of love and push it to somewhere else, even though it's not supposed to have ever gone any further than there. And it's because people don't understand love. You know, they don't get it. There's my lesbian lover. No, I'm just kidding. My soul connection in the chat. There's Isla, one of my mods. And we, from like our first conversation, it was like, I think we're kindred. I think we're connected. And
you probably
and there
are.
was instant love just off of learning about each other.
You probably are from the same hostel, you know, because see, on the other side, we live in hostels, you know.
Right.
It might be 1,000 people or 2,000 people in one house. And then, you know, a lot of people would say, damn, get out of here, Dr. Winters. But see, you know, if you notice, a lot of old people, they see people when they're about to die, they see a lot of in the corner of the room, you see. And because spirits don't take up space. That's why 1,000 people can live in. You can see 50 people in the corner of a room. Because the older you get, you know, you begin in a sense to be in two dimensions, you know, in this dimension and the other dimension. Because remember, you know, heaven is just 2 feet above the ground.
Right.
But because of the fact, in a sense that heaven is at a different frequency, and family always like to use a way for you to understand the frequencies is the fact that when you look at a fan, when the fan isn't running, you can see the fins of the fan, you can see the the various parts of it. But when that fan is running, you can see through the fan, you know, because it's moving so fast. And that's what a different dimension is. That's what heaven is. Everything, the dimensions in heaven, it's only at a different frequency, you know. And so then it's the frequency that allow us to know who we are. I am so blessed, and every day I thank God that God allowed me in this incarnation to believe in God, because you know, some of us aren't supposed to believe in God. That's so we can have, you know, good, bad, and all that type of stuff. But I'm so happy that God allowed me in this incarnation, you know, to be in a sense this person, because my wife, before she died, she said that she saw us in Italy. And so, you know, she said that she was my mistress and we were doing what we like to do. But anyway, I said, damn, I wish I was that Clyde. This Clyde, he's boring. But
No,
again,
that's why it is you though. If she could picture y'all there, then you are there, and then it's up to you to get there, right?
I know, but the point is this: is that yes? See, the only thing, remember, it took me a long time to really understand how the Egyptians talked about. They talked about the soul. They talked about the spirit body. They talked about the physical body. And see, the only thing that's stable is our soul, because see, depending on the incarnation, like I believe that in my last incarnation, I died. I was in France, and I died. I was a freedom fighter. When I went up the steps, I got killed. So I feel I had many incarnations as Europeans, Chinese. I know I was an Olmec because I know everything about the Olmec, so I know I was an Olmec. And I know my daughter. I know at one time she was my mother, because she always trying to boss me. I tell her, baby, I'm the dad now, so stop. Stop. You can't boss me anymore.
Boss me anymore.
I'm free. Yeah. But it's these love languages, and we have to really understand. I want to do a little presentation.
When you do that, I'm gonna see if I can get out and come back in with my camera.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. I'm going to do this presentation, family. And let me see if I can find it. Okay, so we're going to talk about the language of love. And love is very interesting because, see, we've already talked on the different languages. There's languages of love and languages of hate. The only thing is that the words, remember, love or is like any other language in the sense that it's how you see things. Remember, love is made up of images, but it's also made up of how you may view things. The genius of a Black man is love of a Black woman, the remedy to racial battle fatigue. To be a foundational Black American is to battle daily white supremacy. White supremacy seeks to beat down African males so they cannot realize their dreams and hopes. The foundational Black American woman who understands the trauma resulting from the racial battle fatigue you experience through your interactions with the white media and white exploitation at work and the built environment. Remedies these ills. If she understands our history and conditions, she knows how to make your home a safe place. She makes your home safe because she shows you love and respect, while the outside world can be cold and unfeeling. It is the FBA woman who is Black first, B1, who provides this safe home experience. The B1 female knows that we are unique people who were enslaved, but refuse to allow this former experience to define who we are. Since she knows that this is our homeland and we build America and the good things in the American culture. She knows that we have no allies and are the most hated people on earth because we dare to fight white supremacy and dare to compete with whites in every field. This confidence to fight white supremacy comes from recognition we are the Aboriginal people of America. Yes, the Aboriginal people of America, who was reinvigorated during the Atlantic slave trade by a kin from Africa, who over time evolved into the foundation of Black Americans by joining with our Aboriginal and Black European ancestors. Sadly, every foundational Black American home cannot experience this safety. They fail to experience this safety because some men refuse to respect their women and love her. Right? Many of us refuse to love our women, and how you love your woman, even already tell you, pay attention to her, talk to her, let her know that you care. So much that she knows that he is fully committed to her, so she can fully be committed to him. Yes, if you're fully committed to your woman, she will try to be fully committed to you. In the ISIS paper, The Keys to the Color, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing describes love as something that is produced through self-awareness, self-respect, and the deep understanding of one's identity, particularly in the context of overcoming systemic oppression. For Frances Welsing, love is not simply a feeling, but an active, intentional process tied to the survival and empowerment of Black people. She often frames love as an essential part of resisting oppression, yes, and teaching future generations to value themselves and their heritage. That's why it's so important that a man must be there for his woman, that a man has to provide his woman with attention, that a man has to show his woman that he loves her, and he has to, in a sense, provide a language which she can interpret as being loved, and that she, in a sense, is being needed and necessary. And it's through this, in a sense, language that the woman, in a sense, can be able to lead the family. By fostering this deeper, more comprehensive love, she believes Black people can better equip themselves to overcome the societal forces that seek to devalue and diminish our existence. Frances Welsing suggests that love is created when individuals and communities actively work to understand their place in a world shaped by white supremacy and strive to respect and nurture themselves in that context. Yes, we have to nurture each other. You have to love your woman. By embracing one's cultural identity and committing to personal and collective self-improvement, the conditions for real love, both self-love and love within the community, are formed. Yes, it's very important to understand that you can only have love by, in a sense, not only loving yourself, not only loving your wife, but loving other Black people, other foundational Black Americans, your children, and family, not just your family though, but loving the people. Therefore, love is produced by embracing a sense of duty to oneself and one's community, rooted in the deep awareness of the political, social, and historical realities of racism. In the ISIS papers, The Keys to the Colors, Dr. Frances Welsing doesn't provide a traditional step-by-step guide to producing love, but she does outline key concepts that form the foundation of love, particularly in the context of Black liberation. Yes, you had to see Black love. You had to see, in a sense, your liberation through a language of love. Yes, these concepts serve as steps or components for producing love. Welsing emphasized that love begins with a deeper understanding of the system of white supremacy and its impact on Black people. Acknowledging the forces that shape identity and self-perception is the first step towards true love. Yes, know who you are. Know who you are. You see, you have to understand who you are of your Black being. Once aware of the large oppressive system, individuals must develop self-respect, which includes valuing our heritage, culture, and skin color. This rejection of self-hatred, which white supremacy promotes, is central to producing love. Yes, we can only love each other by, in a sense, loving who we are, respecting who we are, and communicating with each other. Welsing argues that love involves a commitment to personal and community empowerment. This means working for the survival, health, and growth of the Black community and resisting forces that seek to destroy that unity. Producing love for Frances Welsing also means passing on this self-awareness and respect to the future generations. Yes, that's why children are important to us. That's why none of us, in a sense, should be in favor of abortion. But if a woman has to abort a child, we shouldn't make her an outcast. We shouldn't try to destroy her. That's just what she had to do. But we should ensure, in a sense, that our children are taught to value themselves and their Black culture. This is the key act of love that ensures survival and growth. Lastly, love is a collective effort. Welsing stresses the importance of creating strong, unified Black communities where individuals support each other emotionally, economically, and socially. For Dr. Welsing, producing love is an active, ongoing process of understanding, empowerment, and resistance against racism. Yes, love does not stop. Love does not stop. Many people, in a sense, they get in a relationship. Oh, I'm getting old. I don't have to really pay attention to my wife. I'm going to just look at TV, and then I'm going to end up, in a sense, like some of these other people. Some brothers married 30, 40, 50 years getting divorces because they start to, in a sense, ignore their women, start to, in a sense, not pay attention to them, not understand that a woman only knows you love her if you pay attention to her. A woman only knows you love her because you acknowledge that she exists. For Welsing, love is communicated through the following language. She believes that teaching oneself and others about systemic oppression, developing self-awareness, and resisting internalized racism is an expression of love. Yes, you didn't know that, did you? You didn't know that by developing self-awareness and fighting against racism, that's how you can express love. The language of love involves affirming blackness, embracing one's identity, and rejecting negative stereotypes imposed by white supremacy. You got to stop it. Stop allowing yourselves to feel, to listen to this language of hate, this language of racism, this language of denigration, and look at a language in a sense of love based upon our Black identity, who and what we are. Raising children with a strong sense of self-worth and cultural pride is central to Welsing's idea of love. Instilling values of respect, understanding, and collective responsibility in our children is key to our survival. Yes, yes. Those minis are important. And the only way our minis will know they're important is if we teach them to have a Black consciousness, to love themselves, and not just love the family, but love the whole entire family, which is FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Building and sustaining strong, supportive communities where individuals uplift one another is an essential form of love for Welsing. This language is expressed through mutual care, solidarity, and a collective effort to resist oppression. We must fight oppression. A lot of these foreigners, these tethers and other people from Africa, they say, well, Black people are always fighting. Why don't Black Americans, why don't they, in a sense, just go ahead and just go along? We can't go along. We know in a sense that we have to resist white supremacy. We have to resist this oppression. This by resisting white supremacy. It's by resisting the injustice that we experience that we show true love to each other and ourselves. In the ISIS papers, The Keys to the Color, Dr. Francis Krauss Welsing emphasized that Black power is closely tied to love, as it represents the empowerment, self-respect, and collective unity of Black people in the face of systemic oppression. According to her, the concept of Black power produces love in several ways. Black power encourages individuals to embrace their identity, culture, and history. This sense of pride and self-respect is a fundamental form of self-love, and as it rejects the negative images imposed by racism. Black power is also about fostering collective strength and unity within the Black community. By building strong communities and institutions that support Black individuals, Black power fosters a sense of belonging and mutual care, which Welsing would see as an expression of love, 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 love. The language of love means to support other Black people. It means, in a sense, to belong and know you belong to a group, a really progressive group, which is Foundational Black Americans, and to want to care about each other and want to see us all progress and make sure that we get our reparations. Welsing argues that Black power is essential for resisting white supremacy, which seeks to devalue and oppress Black people. The fight for liberation is in itself an act of love. Yes, you didn't know that, did you? The fight for liberation in itself is an act of love. Love for oneself, for one's people, and for future generations. Yes, that's how we fight, because we love ourselves. We fight because we love our people. We fight because we want our children to have a better future. That's why we fight, because of our love. Black power focuses on ensuring the survival and success of future Black generation. In Welsing's view, this long-term protection and nurturing is a profound act of love, as it involves fighting for a future where Black people can thrive without the burden of racism. Yes, we fight to thrive. Thus, for Welsing, Black power produces love by encouraging self-respect, by encouraging community unity, and by presenting a strong resistance to oppression. It is through this collective strength of empowerment that true love for self and community is nurtured and sustained. That's what's wrong with you foreigners. That's what's wrong. You don't understand why we delineate. We delineate because we are unique people. We delineate because we know that the only true love is you have to love yourself, and you have to, in a sense, nurture and sustain this love by fighting what? Oppression, by seeking justice, not injustice. That's the language of love. Yes, 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 yes. That's the language of love. We got to stop it. We got to stop, in a sense, feeling that we can just be in this sad world. We got to understand that it's through the love of one another. It's through loving ourselves. It's through, in a sense, understanding what love is that we can find true love. Yes, 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 yes. you know, and what did All the Way Free say? He said, yes, our minis. And I definitely, and not just limited to, feel the love in every single meal. Just Eve, peace, power, and reparations. Yes, peace, power, and reparations.
Peace,
Yes,
power, and reparations to
yeah,
you.
yes. Family. Eve. Eve is the epitome of the Black goddess.
Oh.
How is she the epitome of the Black goddess? Because she's the epitome of the Black goddess because she understands that she has to nurture us. And not just nurture us in a sense through this whole idea of telling us those words that empower us, but by also understanding that it's through her being able to share with us the love from the food that she gives us. That's a language. That food is a language. That food is talking to us. When her minis say, "Mommy, that was great. Mom, can I have whatever my favorite is? Mom, you didn't cook my favorite today. Mom, feed me, feed me. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for your love." That's what they're telling us. That's what they're telling us. They're hungry for our love. Yes.
That's
That,
so true. My oldest mini, me and their baba, we were talking about different things from their childhood, right? Because as parents, we're going to remember things about them that they're not going to remember, and it's up to us to remind them that they used to do this, right? I think maybe I shared with you guys one time that our knee baby, the mighty man, he rubs his belly when he wants some extra food. He's so very hungry, right? And it's like, man, I know you're not that hungry. We feed you. You eat every day, dude. Like, don't even try that with us. But it's just him knowing that the extras, you can, oh, there's my camera. You can put some extras on it, and mommy's gonna fold every single time. Because I'm sorry, I'm so hungry. That is so terribly cute. It's the cutest bad thing to feed into, because then maybe other parents are seeing it, and that's why their children are walking around waddling or rolling around like little milk duds, because they don't say no with the food stuff. I feel like since our minis are vegan, they should be able to eat as much bananas and oranges and apples or grapes or whatever it is that they're asking for. Water, as much water as you want, because you're not eating calories like that. So feed you as much as we can, but when they want more, that it means that I did a good job. Some of y'all out here, your children don't want you to cook for them, and my feelings would be so hurt. They would be so hurt if they said, could you not do that anymore? But on their birthdays, on special days, on other people's birthdays, they are like, are you gonna make whatever? Or can you make whatever it is? And I love everything about that. I love that they think I can do it. Our knee baby that we just talked about, he's my short order man. He gives me an order most times in a day in advance, and he's very specific. He knows exactly what he wants, when he wants it. He knows what meal he wants it for, and then from there, I'm supposed to be able to provide. I find that it's the challenge, but I like the challenge because it means that he's keeping me on my toes. Like, I get to continue to be creative. If he says that he wants fruit pizza, what's fruit pizza? It's pancake with pizza on top, and it's pancake, right? But it looks like I don't know. He said he wanted a fruit pizza. I don't know what that is. Who knows?
Love. It's all love. See, family. When you guys came, you said, "What the hell? What the hell is Dr. Winters and Eve going to do tonight? How are they going to talk about the language of love?" That is bullshit. Shit. But you didn't understand that language is just images. Language, in a sense, is how we communicate. you know, and much of the communication that we spend, especially when you got a good woman in the house, she's always trying to communicate to us through our bellies. You know, we like to think in a sense, a lot of people they like to say, aha, you know, that the main thing that will bring about a very happy home is if inside that home you're having good sex, you're having you're hugging and kissing all the time. No, no, no. It's sharing. It's being able to express yourself and being able to provide love. But see, love, like any other language, is a language that is not only in a sense, spoken, but it's also demonstrated. You know, that's our little genius. That's my girl. That's my girl. You know why I love you, young lady, is because you're always telling your mom that you like my shows. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Did you want to say something?
He's talking about, we were talking about love, and I told them that you guys feel love when I feed you, but maybe you love me more than just the food. I don't know. How you feel? When do you feel love, or is it something else?
I feel when you care for us.
Oh, when I care for you guys. And I like to show care with the food. It's Black people have a stereotype of being unhealthy, unfit. They get tired of me saying that stuff because they're not in that category of unfit, because me and their father are very active in their lives. But I find that it's that attention that we talked about with the girls. That's when they feel the most love. And then with boys, maybe it's how we can nourish them, right? I don't know. You're out of all five of y'all, who do you think feels the most love when I'm cooking food?
Mine.
That's the knee baby, right? So I didn't tell her to say that. That's just, everybody knows that little guy is full of love when his belly's full. And if his belly's not full, then he's gonna be letting you know, letting her know, letting me know, letting him know, letting everybody know.
But isn't that the most important thing? Is being able, in a sense. See, remember, language is communication, and it's through the communication, and when we can talk to people. I used to really love the fact, in the sense that my wife and my daughter, they would go to a lot of I'm a buffet man. I mean, I'd rather go to a buffet anytime. But they at least twice, 2 or 3 times a week, they would go to the restaurants and stuff. That's why I knew that she was going to spend up all of her money once I died. But they love restaurants. They love experiencing new restaurants. They loved going out and talking and communicating, and that's the most important thing, because see, to me, the worst thing that a mom can do is to ignore their daughter, because see, the most of the time you don't really need your father till you get to be a teenager, but girls need their mother all the time, and the more that a mother opens up to her child, the more that a mother listens to her child, the more that a mother, in a sense, will acknowledge her child. Because remember, what did you say earlier? Just Eve, you said that it's the attention. And so if you want attention, she want attention too.
That's right. That's right. Me and their dad, we were talking about just I try to take notes when the kids are doing something, Mighty and his belly. But this one, she gave me one, and it was when she was first born. And when she was first born, I'm looking for it on my phone so she can see it, so y'all know it's not cap. When she was first born, I made this note from a conversation we were having, and it was I was working a lot, and I don't know if she remembers this or not, but I think I had like 3 jobs at one time, and I was doing her nails, and she was just all over the place, just doing the most, just whatever, and she talks. I know she's not talking right now, but she talks. And I asked her, like, what's going on? Calm down, like, too hyper for me. What's going on? And what she said, where is it? It's right here. I'm gonna read it. You can see her face, so is real. It was from, I want to say it was like 2017, 2018. So she was a little thing back then. And she said, I can't find it right now. But dang it, I had it the other day. But she was telling me that she was all over the place because she missed me. Basically, that at the end of the day, all of her hyperness, all of her moving around and moving about and just doing whatever it was because she missed me. And I didn't know that she was paying attention to me or our time together or anything like that, as much as when we did have time, she tried to get it all out right then and there, like boom. I don't know when you're gonna be back because you're working a lot, but let's
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the phone. I know that my knee baby, he always talks about the fact that he has a lot of recordings of some of the messages of my wife and some of her words. And and he says he likes to listen to his mom because that reminds him. Because whenever I dream about my wife, she doesn't say anything, and she'll get in and out. So I was talking to my son is not of the flesh, but he's my son, Mario. And we were talking about the fact is that often when the people you love, when they show up in your dreams, they don't really say nothing, they're just there, and that's kind of bad because sometimes I'll be saying, why did my wife why she's in the background, she doesn't say, hey nigga, what? She don't even say nothing. What did she want to say? What did your daughter say?
I showed her the note. It was from 2017, so she was only 5. And weren't you 5 at the time? I think. If my math is right, cross the T, carry the I, dot the 1. No, she was 5. And I showed her the note so that y'all didn't think that it was kept. And she just read it. And she read some other ones too, because I think parents should remember the things that their children are doing so you can tell their future wife or future husband, did you know she used to be afraid of flies? Or whatever it is.
Embarrass them. That's the beauty of kids, embarrass them. But see that's the one thing that I felt when my kids were growing up is that me and my wife, we decided we wanted to give them memories, because it's the memories, it's these memories that you have that can carry you when other things fail, when you're in your darkest hour. A lot of times you can get that great memory, then it can make such a difference. But it's coming up to 2 hours. Eve, did you have any final comments about love or the language of love?
Yeah, I don't want anybody to be confused from the conversation, because we kind of went all over the place. That's that stereotypical scatterbrain that y'all have been told that women have. But really, there is a rhyme and reason for my madness tonight, and it's because like me and you talk all the time about conversations. People get confused or have arguments or disagreements and dissent because they're not having the same conversation, and that probably extends into their love language too. So while they might be working super hard to show the love, the people or person receiving it is not receiving it because it's not in their language. So in the same form and fashion, you wouldn't be screaming at a non-English speaker. I mean, some of y'all would, but some of y'all, they're not deaf. They just don't speak English. They're not deaf.
Speak English, no English, no English.
They'll say, "Can you understand?" It's like, wait, just because you're loud doesn't mean that they're gonna get it either. And like, if we can get that with adults and just basic communication skills, then maybe we can apply it to the more complex situations that people don't necessarily like to talk about. But I want us to win. And I don't like old folks' homes riddled with us and people forgetting about us, and how you have kids and you were a forgotten, unless you were like Ketanji Brown Jackson, not knowing what a woman was. you know, if I was her kids, I don't know if I'd want to go visit her if she had ever made it to, you know, old folks' home, but that'd been because she just completely dismissed me. So, you know, we want the attention, but then maybe we should make sure that the person that's giving it to us knows that this is what we want. And then we won't have any dissent or disagreement or anything like that.
True. But I think the most important thing is that what I hope you guys have learned from this is that love, the language of love is very important. The language of love, especially as Francine Wilson has taught us, is that love in a sense is about having a sense of community, a pride in oneself, and understanding that we're in a war, and this war is a fight against injustice. And most importantly, if you're not going to stand up, support the ones
who do.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and then stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your mind, they feel. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck control your mind, they feel. Distraction away from me. I am you, and control your mind, they feel. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Don't follow nobody but yourself. Don't follow, I said nobody but yourself. Don't follow nobody but yourself. Don't follow yourself. Nobody, yourself. Nobody but yourself.
The only thing that can save you is be one. Be one. Be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.